It's Britain's most gruelling cross-country endurance race.
The harder we push them, the more they love it.
For some, it's an ordeal. For others, it's quite different.
Pain and pleasure together equals thrill.
Short stories, tough going. Monday at 8:30 on 4.
Andy McDowell, Gerard Depardieu.
You married a man you didn't know in order to get a greenhouse.
Oh, look, that used to be the bathroom.
She's from New York. He's from France.
How did you two meet? I'm sure it was very romantic.
Together, they invent a married life.
We are on honeymoon and we have to smile like boss.
A strange couple in an odd arrangement to secure his freedom in the USA. Green Card, tonight at 8 on Yorkshire.
With new rides and shows where...
Bigger, better, wilder, wetter!
Get down to the new American Adventure World. More fun for your money.
The cheetah is the fastest animal on Earth, but has absolutely no idea how to clear a blocked fuel line. Green Flag are dedicated to getting to you faster. If we're not with you within an hour, we'll give you £10. So, why wait any longer? Call Green Flag on 0800 800 664 today. We leave everyone standing, but you.
Hello. A little while back, I got a letter from a little girl called Belinda.
Dear Mr. Knack, could we have a store in Nottingham? Our furniture is so chintzy and depressing, and your nearest store is so far away. Could we have one in Nottingham?
Well, Belinda, of course you can. I liked your letter a lot. I was just about to write you a reply, but you couldn't wait. You had to go over my head. You damaged my career, which is fine. No problem. Well, the good news is you got your store. I chose a location with you in mind, especially.
IKEA Nottingham opens 21st of August, junction 26 off the M1.
Good of Luigi to lend us his van.
Hope the school appreciate it.
I can tell you do.
Oh, can't judge a fancy dress like this.
Come on, I've got my surf.
We're gonna be late. Hold this. It's as far as I go.
You surf. It's been improved. Even tough chocolate stains are easy now. And you won't need leavers money back guarantee. Just the surf.
Fancy a choc ice?
You get worse.
Never mind, surf gets better.
When you just stepped out of the edge.
Now what's in store for you?
Who is that, John?
That Barry is Mystic Mog. She sees into the future.
Has she seen anything yet?
Yes, she's predicted the kitty cat are going to make their lovely meaty chunks even tastier. Oh,
impossible.
She's seen some new tasty flavours too.
That sounds nice.
Too.
No, you ginger furball.
Oh, pardon me.
The tasty new flavours bit.
Let's have a look.
New tastier kitty cat coming soon.
Please don't chew!
Roundtree's fruit pastels take you beyond fruit.
We're just getting reports in now.
It just seems like these in an
Deepening
Albania.
as we speak, like crazy.
Thick fog shortly before.
The Ministry of Agriculture.
Let them ignore her, so to speak.
The globe was given by Tom Cruise.
We've had the speech, we've heard the rhetoric. What happens next?
GMTV News. Washington, D.C.
Belfast, Moscow, Westminster.
Jerusalem. Because a lot can happen overnight.
The latest from our part of the world in 5 minutes. After the news headlines from ITN.
Good morning.
The Asfordby coal pit in Leicestershire has confirmed that it's closing down. Managers are blaming adverse geological conditions. They say most of the workforce will be transferred to other mines, but redundancies are inevitable. Unions have described it as extremely bad news.
People want to buy Asfordsby's coal and there's plenty of it. The problem is the pit suffers from a geological fault. That means it's impossible to predict how the coal face will collapse during mining. For safety reasons, therefore, management are shutting down the colliery. It means redundancy for some 500 staff, although the pit's owners claim the majority will be offered new jobs at its other mines in the Midlands and South Yorkshire. Union leaders, however, look set to fight the closure, arguing there's plenty of coal left that could be safely mined in other sections of the colliery. The prospect of a workers' buyout to save the pit is now being discussed. Although Asfordsby recorded a small level of profit in the first 6 months of this year, it lost a total of £36 million over the previous 2 years. Chris Roberts, ITN.
The value of shares on the London stock market fell sharply again this morning. The FT100 index dropped more than 70 points, wiping £12 billion off prices. The fall had been expected after heavy losses in New York last Friday. Analysts say the market is correcting itself because shares have been overvalued. The lottery operator Camelot will find out this morning if it's won a court battle to stop bookmakers running a rival numbers game. It's Camelot's fourth attempt to ban 49s. Camelot claims the game is illegal. It brought a private prosecution against 3 of Britain's biggest bookmakers after the Director of Public Prosecutions refused to intervene in the case. Con men who prey on the elderly in their homes and steal their savings have today become the target of a massive police crackdown. Strathclyde Police have teamed up with 7 other forces in the north to spearhead Operation Hamelin.
She's an easy target, elderly, trusting and vulnerable. This woman's being tricked out of her life savings by a con man. Filmed during an undercover police operation, it's just one of 5,000 such incidents reported each year in Scotland alone. Police believe the real figure is much higher. This morning, forces across Scotland and Northern England began a massive crackdown on the con man. Operation Hamelin will target con men across the UK, forces exchanging information on known and suspected tricksters who it's estimated get away with more than £1 million a year. Officers are also illustrating the ease with which con men trick the elderly in a series of reconstructions across Scotland. Most pose as charity collectors or tradesmen. Police say the effect on the victim can be emotionally devastating. Will Walden, ITN.
A British warship is heading back to the Caribbean island of Montserrat, where experts fear a massive new volcanic eruption. 7,000 people have left the island since the start of the eruptions, which have engulfed towns and villages with ash. It's now feared that a total evacuation may be necessary. The first national conference on alcopops is to be held at Leicester University today. It'll be attended by academics and welfare campaigners. The aim is to try to establish who the controversial drinks appeal to and whether they really are causing an explosion in underage drinking. The government is considering proposals to sell the television rights to cricket test matches to cable and satellite stations. Cricket chiefs are said to want to find ways of raising money to improve the game after its exclusion from the new Academy of Sporting Excellence. In today's lunchtime news, more on the closure of Asfordby Pit. Plus, we'll be reporting from the Mind Olympics, where the world's best brains are competing for the IQ World Championships. That's at 12:30 with me and Dermot Murnahan. Bye for now.
Look! Quick! Quick! Call the dry brigade! There's a damp damsel in distress! Huggy! Huggies speed to the rescue with their Rapid Dry Nappy. Rapid Dries are new. Rapid Dries absorb liquid faster than ever, so baby's even drier. So call the dry brigade for happy endings. Huggies' new Rapid Dries to the rescue, every time.
The space shuttle leaves the Earth's atmosphere at 18,500 miles per hour. Unfortunately, it is not equipped for the recovery of a car, driver, and up to 5 passengers to a guest house in Newquay. Green Flag are dedicated to getting to you faster. If we're not with you within an hour, we'll give you £10. So, why wait any longer? Call Green Flag on 0800 800 664 today. We leave everyone standing, but you.
This is Yorkshire Television, now with the regional headlines.
Good morning and welcome to Calendar. Residents in parts of Yorkshire are this morning counting the cost of repairs after fierce thunderstorms
Inherited it from the tourists, and apparently no British constructor could bid for it. I think that's a sad reflection on the competency of the industry, but we have as we have, and we inherited it.
Lottery money may be coming to the rescue of English cricket after it was excluded from the new Academy of Sporting Excellence. The Culture Secretary Chris Smith has hinted that cricket could get its own separate academy funded by the lottery, and he hasn't ruled out selling the television rights to test matches to cable and satellite broadcasters.
After reports over the weekend that the sport was to be excluded from any national sports academy, Secretary of State Chris Smith has revealed that national lottery money could be used to give cricket the facilities it needs. Unlike football, cricket is going through tough times financially. Crowds for county matches are poor, yet without a healthy game at this level, England will continue to struggle when it comes to finding players who can win test matches.
Having been a professional cricketer for 25 years, I don't think you could say cricket is a wealthy sport, and certainly cricketers are not that wealthy.
To raise money, cricket wants the option of selling television rights to the highest bidder. One-day internationals have already been bought up by satellite. Unless more funding comes into the game, test matches could go the same way. Peter Staunton, ITN Sport.
Con men who prey on the elderly in their homes have today become the target of a massive police crackdown in Scotland and the north of England. 8 forces are combining to stop thieves like this man secretly filmed trying to rob a woman of her savings. It's estimated that con men posing as tradesmen or charity collectors get away with more than £1 million a year. The 4,000 inhabitants remaining on the Caribbean island of Montserrat have been warned they should leave before there's a massive volcanic eruption. Scientists monitoring the volcano say it's become much more dangerous over the last 24 hours. Britain has now begun organising a mass evacuation. Finally, within the last few minutes, it's been announced that the main computer on board the Mir space station has failed, causing it to lose its orientation to the sun and forcing the crew to shut off main systems. The commander earlier had to carry out a docking procedure manually. We'll have the latest from space on the early evening news at 5:40.
Good afternoon. Residents in parts of Yorkshire are today counting the cost of repairs after fierce thunderstorms brought widespread flooding to many homes and businesses. One of the worst affected areas was Doncaster, where fire officers dealt with more than 400 calls.
As the floodwater subsided, the clean-up operation began in earnest. Only then did the full extent of the damage become apparent.
There were shoes floating on the floor. There was carpet coming up in the middle of the floor, you know. Potatoes out of my potato rack floating. Everything were just floating on the floor, and grass, and it smelled. And
the fire brigade was swamped by more than 400 calls. It was the biggest emergency operation of its kind for several years. Every available tender worked all night non-stop.
Well, this morning we've had people returning to work and, of course, finding flood in cellars and stores. And we've been called out this morning, not as much as last night, fortunately, but we've been called out to people who are returning to work and finding damage sustained by the floods.
For the residents of the Westminster House flats, history was repeating itself. It's the 4th time they've been flooded. They are now demanding urgent action from the council.
Apparently it's been like this for 4 years, and the council has promised to do something for the residents, and they haven't done it. So they are now very upset about it.
The clean-up operation is continuing. It will be days, if not weeks, before the flats are fit to live in again.
Dick Taylor reporting there. It's believed that a teenage boy may have drowned in a lagoon at a former pit site in South Yorkshire. It's understood that the 15-year-old youth was swimming with friends in the lake at what is now the Wath Manvers regeneration area near Wath-on-Dearne. He's thought to have been trapped in the water from up to an hour. West Yorkshire Police are attempting to bring back the Bobby on the Beat in Castleford, with a new scheme being launched today. The system, known as beat profiling, involved 3 or 4 officers per shift having special responsibility for a particular beat. It's hoped that the project will help police to forge closer links with the community. Now, parents who've been through the trauma of stillbirth are raising money to build a memorial garden at a West Yorkshire hospital. Carol Wheatley and Jane Kirk have both been through the nightmare of having stillborn babies. The support group SANDS is holding events like sponsored bike rides to raise money for a peace garden at Pontefract Hospital. SANDS has already provided a special room so that mothers in their situation are not put back onto maternity wards. Now, coming up tonight on Calendar, a bit of a sporting success to savour. The Bradford Bulls made the sporting headlines in the region over the weekend when they clinched the Super League trophy with a win over the Sheffield Eagles. Now, it's Bradford's first major trophy for 16 years, and over 7,000 fans made the trip to the Don Valley Stadium to see them clinch the title on Saturday night. So well done to the Bulls. That's it, but do join Krista and me on Calendar at 5 to 6. Bye-bye.
When you've shopped all day and the day wasn't long enough, simply dial 0800 478 478. With Next Directory, the pleasure lasts a little longer.
Max Spielman understands that every photo's important, which is why they take such care printing them. So what makes Max Spielman photos so special?
Good staff, good product.
Efficient service. Oh, the turnaround time is terrific.
They're good quality, very friendly service, jolly good price.
They're just very clear, good photographs.
And with 24 photos from only 125. That's why I trust Max.
Scotland. Just one number, just one question. For your autumn gold brochure, call 0345 511 511.
Is that a picture of your daddy?
Well, it was supposed to be a melon, actually. I'll just make it a bit rounder.
Melons. Buy one, get one free.
You've got to be. I'll show you why, just follow me! Silly Tom and Tiny, Furry, Boo and Donkey, Miller, Moss and Marjorie, Tail, and Mr. Quibbling, Rosie, Jim and Neil, Alphabet Castle, with the door and Tatty Boo. And don't forget Hangle, CITV, every day at 3:30.
Good afternoon, gang. Hope you had a fantastic weekend. We're going to be kicking off today with this.
I'm a tot. Je suis une tot teeny. Tub. And tiny. We're the Tots and Tots TV. 1, 2, 3, boo.
Lovely donkey.
Oh, our friend donkey.
Allez, viens. Go to sleep, little Teddy, go to sleep. Actually, Teddy, which bed would you like in my story? Do you like that bed or this bed? Do you know?
I don't know why you don't sleep indoors, Tilly, especially when it's so windy. Come on, try that one. Ah, so that's Mum. Is that better? Oh, brilliant. OK, is there anything else then? Ma poupée, s'il te plaît. Dolly? All right, then I'll get it for you. Hang on. Oh, right, here we are, here's Dolly. Oh, merci, Dolly. There you are. Right, that must be everything then.
Oh, it's time for my story, actually, Teddy. Right, here we go. Dial my phone. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Oh, Tilly, your phone's ringing.
Oh non! 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, c'est Tilly à l'appareil, bonjour.
Oh, hello, Tilly. It's Tilly.
Bonjour Tom, figure-toi que je faisais dodo.
Oh, you've just been asleep?
Oui.
Hey, Tilly, my story's all about going to sleep somewhere different.
Oh, vraiment?
Yeah.
Oh, attends, je vais le dire à Tiny. L'histoire de Tom, c'est sur les dodos.
Oh, what Tom's story is all about sleeping somewhere different?
Oui.
Oh, cool, that's brilliant, Tilly. Tell him that we'll come and listen to it.
Viens, Tom, tout de suite.
You'd like to come to listen to my story? They're coming. You're coming. See you later.
All right, see you later, Tom. Come on then, Tilly, let's go and listen.
Right. Get ready for my story, Teddy. You go over there, Teddy. Right, that's Teddy, and those are my beds. Ready for my going on holiday story in Tom's storybook. Ready, Tilly?
Oui, Tom.
Ready, Tiny?
Yeah, Tom, I'm ready.
Ready, Donkey? Right, this is my story by me. Once upon a time, Teddy and all his friends went on holiday to somewhere different where it was all snowy. Teacher told them to choose which bed they wanted to sleep in. Bossy Rabbit was the last in, and he decided that he wanted the bed that Piggy was in. I want that bed, he shouted. Give it me. Now, said Teddy. Piggy was there first. Have this one. No, I want this one, said Bossy Rabbit. Well, you can't have it because I was here first, and that's the rule, so there. But I like that bed, said Bossy Rabbit. It's not fair. Supper time, said Teddy. Come to supper, said Piggy. I'll show that Piggy, said naughty Bossy. And he was late for supper. Now, everyone's finished their lovely supper, and tomorrow you can all go and play in the snow, said Teacher. But now it's time for bed. Oh dear, who did that, said Teddy. Somebody broke my bed. I can guess who it was, said Teddy. That was very naughty. How can we be friends when you play such nasty tricks? Bossy was sorry. Never, never do that again. Oh, stop that crying, Bossy, said Piggy. Oh, please, please, Piggy, be my friend. I'm sorry. Oh, I'll never be naughty ever again. Oh, please, please. Calm down, calm down. Who's making all the noise, said teacher. Has someone been playing tricks? Oh, forgive us, please, miss, said Piggy. My friend and me were just playing. Yeah, just playing, just playing. Time for bed, said the teacher. And that's the end of my story.
Can you guess what helps to make learning so much fun? Riddler magic? Of course, with the Riddlers. Tuesdays 3:30 on CITV.
And world headlines with John Suchet.
Good afternoon. Tens of thousands of elderly patients are facing being moved out of their hospital beds and back to their homes to make way for emergencies. The government is anticipating another winter crisis in the NHS and has asked health officials around the country to take action.
Elderly patients who are not acute cases, sometimes known as bed blockers, would be moved out of hospital to free up emergency beds. The British Medical Association says it's a good idea.
Patients, whomever they are, particularly when they are vulnerable, as when they are elderly, possibly chronically sick, possibly on their own, that they do receive the most appropriate care, and that is usually in a community setting, not in hospital except when they are acutely ill.
But others criticise the plan.
Well, I think there's something distasteful about playing past the patient with these elderly people. And what's worse, of course, social services have no money. In fact, they're even more cash-strapped than health authorities.
But the government insists it's a matter of organisation, not resources. Health Secretary Frank Dobson says if necessary, he'll tour the country to knock heads together in health and social services to make the plan work. Lauren Taylor, ITN.
The Labour MP for Renfrewshire West, Tommy Graham, is to be suspended by his party after allegedly spreading rumours about Gordon McMaster, the MP who committed suicide. A parliamentary investigation into Gordon McMaster's death concluded that he was the target of a smear campaign within the Paisley Labour Party. Mr Graham must now await the outcome of an internal inquiry by Labour's ruling body. The troubled fashion and textiles company Laura Ashley is closing down 2 of its factories in Wales. Nearly 200 people will lose their jobs as the company moves production overseas.
Closure of the 2 factories is a huge blow to the local economy in Wales, but reflects the problems the Laura Ashley fashion empire has encountered. Since the 60s and 70s, when its floral designs were a byword for contemporary fashion, Laura Ashley has quite simply lost its way. Following a thorough shake-up of the company, it lost 3 senior executives. On top of that, the company warned that while it expected to be in the black this year, profits would be lower than anticipated. Analysts say it could signal the end of production in Wales.
Clearly, production costs in Wales are much higher than they are in the Far East. For a long time, Laura Ashley has stayed true to its Welsh roots, but really, at the end of the day, economics has won.
The latest evidence from the shops is encouraging, with sales up 17% in the first half of this year compared with last. But the pace of change in the high street fashion industry has been so fast, Laura Ashley still has a struggle on its hands. Mark Webster, ITN.
A judge this afternoon granted an order banning Greenpeace from trying to disrupt drilling work by BP. It's another blow for the environmental group, which is being sued by the oil giant. BP says it wants to get back the revenue it lost when Greenpeace activists occupied its Stena D rig. Greenpeace says it faces financial ruin if BP wins its legal action. The engineer Colin Fallows' attempt to break the British land speed record has run into trouble on the first go. He was hoping to clock 350 miles an hour in his dragster in North Yorkshire. But that flash signaled that a bird had been sucked into its jet engine, forcing him to abandon the attempt. But he's going to try again in just half an hour from now. We'll have full coverage of that on the early evening news. Also, as Blackpool opts for plastic white chairs, is this the beginning of the end of the traditional British deck chair? Join me for the early evening news, 5:40.
Good afternoon and welcome to Calendar. Police in Leeds are hunting two men who stabbed a teenager as he tried to stop them from stealing his car. Mark Silkstone, who's 18, was stabbed in the neck and the back outside his home in Pinfold Lane in Halton just before midnight last night. He was rushed to hospital for emergency surgery. Mark's family say it was an unprovoked attack and that someone must know who the men are.
He's okay now, and out of danger and everything. And we just hope he gets better, love, now. But I can't thank the police and the surgeons for what they did. But I hope we get him, you know, and just hope the police catch him to stop him doing this to anybody else.
There are fresh appeals today for information about where the murdered Sheffield woman Patricia Granger spent the last days of her life. Patricia, who had a 5-year-old son, went missing from her home a week before she died.
5-year-old Danny Granger, cared for now entirely by his grandparents. Last week, his mother Patricia, who was 25, was found murdered.
He's taking it very bad at the moment. Keeps asking questions. When's his mother going to come home and that? And I keep saying she's gone to baby Jesus. And he's beginning to understand that a little bit now.
Patricia Granger, who suffered learning difficulties, went missing from the family home in Parson Cross the week before she died. Her body was found less than a mile away in Hartley Brook. She'd been stabbed and strangled. Police know Patricia was alive during the time she was away from home, but so far there's been no information about where she was staying.
I'm just upset, that's all, that nobody's coming forward with that vital bit of information. I asked the people of Parsons Cross to phone the police up if they know where Pat's been staying, and then that'll ease the pain a little bit.
I hope they do find him. If it's only for his sake.
The family say they won't rest until Patricia's killer is caught.
The Health and Safety Executive is investigating a company near Wakefield after a routine inspection discovered that its workers were removing asbestos from rail coaches. A prohibition notice has been served on Bombardier ProRail based in Horbury to stop employees from continuing their work with the asbestos. Instead, the company brought in licensed contractors to finish the work. The company says it's cooperating with the investigation. An international firm has announced a £4 million expansion to its Doncaster headquarters, creating 250 new jobs. Marchrist, who are the UK's largest manufacturer and supplier of industrial diamonds, is to build a distribution centre at their base on the Kirksandall industrial estate. The company currently employs 80 people. Well, that's about it for now, but on Calendar tonight we'll have the latest on that engineer's attempt to break land speed records in North Yorkshire. Join us then. Bye-bye.
In 5 special edition packs, Walker's new cheese and chive flavour are so irresistible.
This is what I want, what I really, really want.
There's no more Mr. Spice Guy. Stubborn dirt like this can be removed with tough scourers, but they can also scratch delicate surfaces. New Vileda Active Wave is different.
Its special coating is made from per-active material which breaks up the dirt and lifts it clean away. It's effective even on tough baked-on dirt. Perfectly clean and without a scratch, even on really delicate surfaces. New Vileda Active Wave. Tough on dirt, but gentle on surfaces.
Watch out! Here comes Boo!
Tickety-boo to you!
He's your favourite friend, this little green thing, who loves to have a play, a dance and a sing.
They're all tickety-boo!
There's lots of poems and jokes thrown in too, so why not join in the fun with Tickety-Boo, Wednesdays 20 to 4 on CITV.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. If you'd be kind enough to take your seats, we're kicking off with this.
Look at those ducks, aren't they lovely? Do you know, I reckon I must have walked through every inch of this park in the last couple of weeks.
Papa-wee.
Every single day we've had to bring him out in his pram.
Pam. Mossy Pam.
Well, babies do need lots of fresh air.
Fresh air. Lots of fresh air.
True. But it does seem to be doing him some good. He's growing up fast.
Go fast. Mossy, go up fast.
Do you know, I've been thinking.
Been thinking. Monty been thinking.
Look, let's go and talk over there for a minute, shall we? You too, Ul-Haq. This concerns you more than anybody.
But what about Mossab?
Oh, just leave him here to look at the ducks. He'll be all right. I don't really want him to hear what I've got to say.
Got to say. Monty been thinking.
Ul-Haq, will you put the brake on? Put it on properly. We don't want the pram running away again, do we?
I will.
Come on in. Now listen, it's only been 2 weeks since Mossop first turned himself into a baby thought magic, right?
Yes.
And it's only been 1 week since he learned how to say his first words, right?
That's right, Mr. Grimley. And now he can say all sorts of words.
Exactly. He's growing up fast, really fast. And he's not going to be a baby much longer, so we're going to have to think of what to do with him.
Well, how do you mean, Mr. Grimley? I mean, I'm perfectly happy to have Mossop staying with me. It's quite fun having a baby around the place.
But he won't be a baby soon, will he? He'll be, well, a young Riddler, a tiddler.
I think I see what you mean, Mr. Grimley. Tiddlers don't live in houses with human folk. They live with other riddlers, grown-up riddlers who can teach them all about riddling.
Yep. And we're going to have to find a Riddler for Mossop to live with.
Well, that's no problem. He can live with me.
Are you sure, Ul-Haq? I mean, it's not always easy having Mossop living with you.
I'll manage, Marjorie. Mossop took me in and taught me things when I was a tiddler. So now I can do the same for him. It'll make me feel quite important.
Well, I'm glad that's settled. Hey, let's go and see how the little darling's getting on, shall we?
He's gone.
He can't have.
Look, the pram's empty. Mossop!
Look.
Birdie.
Oh, my goodness. Mossop, don't move.
Birdie.
Oh. Imagine if he'd fallen in the water.
He might have drowned.
Just goes to show you've got to watch babies all the time. You can't take your eyes off them for a minute.
Well, he's all right. There's no harm done, luckily. But how did he get out of the pram?
Walk. Mossy, walk.
You walked? You got out of the pram and walked?
Yes.
Well, what a clever little thing.
Clever. Mossy, clever.
He is growing up fast.
Hey, take a few more steps on Monty, eh? Let's go and see the quack-quacks.
Quack-quack.
Quack-quacks, Mr. Grimley. They're not quack-quacks. So why do you call them that?
Well, it's baby talk, isn't it?
I always think it's silly when grown-ups use baby talk. They're not called quack-quacks, Mossop. They're ducks. Mallard ducks, actually. And those geese over there, Canada geese, and the blackbirds with the white heads are called coots.
Children always find it easier to say quack quacks.
Canada geese.
Well, sometimes they do.
Well, whatever they're called, why don't we go and feed them? Look, I brought some bread with me. Come on. Here, must you feed the birds?
Must it feed the ducks?
Canada geese.
Yes, and the Canada geese. Isn't he clever?
Oh.
Well, not that clever.
No, Martha.
What's that?
That's a dog, a dachshund.
Dachshund. What's that?
That's a tree.
Twee. What's that?
That's a bird, a magpie.
Magpie.
Mm.
What's that?
That's a squirrel.
Quibble.
He's certainly keeping you busy, Tiddler. All these questions.
Oh, I don't mind. Asking questions is how you learn things. And learning things is what being a riddler is all about. You carry on asking the questions, Mossop, and you'll be really clever when you get older. One day you will grow up to be a riddler. A riddler is a wonderful thing to be. They use their brains a lot to riddle out what is what, and they'll never leave off riddling till an answer they have got. You're lucky you'll grow up to be a riddler, and you're going to be a good one, I can see. You'll be clever, you'll be bright, you'll find life's a real delight, 'cause a riddler is a wonderful thing to be.
One day I will grow up to be a riddler. A riddler is a wonderful thing to be. They use their brains a lot to riddle out what is what, and they never leave off riddling till an answer they have got. I'm lucky I'll grow up to be a riddler. I'm going to be a good one, I can see. I'll be clever, I'll be bright, I'll find life's a real delight, 'cause a riddler is a wonderful thing to be.
Mossop, you are clever.
Yes, Mossy clever, but...
But what?
Mossy don't want to be riddler.
What?
Mossy want to be a man, like Monty. Monty, my hero.
Of course, you can't really blame him, can you? I mean, who wouldn't want to grow up like me?
Well, I know you're feeling very pleased with yourself, Mr. Grimley, but have you really thought what this means?
Oh, no. What? Hey, Mossop, come away from there!
What's that?
Well, it's a rubbish bin, it's dirty. Come away.
It means that if Mossop isn't going to be a riddler, then Tiddler won't be looking after him, will you?
No, I suppose I won't.
So, who's going to bring him up?
Well, I will. Hey, Mossop, come away from there.
What's that?
Well, it's rubbish, it's dirty. Come away.
It's not going to be as easy as you think, you know. Perhaps he'd better stay with me.
That's all right, Mr. You can stay with me. He won't get any trouble, will you, Mossop? Oh, Mossop.
Oh!
Oh!
Mossop, look what you've done now.
Oh. Are you sure he's not going to be any trouble?
Well, I think might be a good idea if he was to stay on at your house.
What's that?
Oh. In fact, I think it'd be a very good idea.
We're going to be going on another adventure with Ozzy next.
Come on then, let's be having ya.
I wonder where the magic scrapbook will take us to this time.
3:30 on CITV.
Big Ed. He's the smartest cowboy in the West. He sure is quick on the draw. And when it's panning for gold, he knows.
There's chocolate in them there hills.
Whoa, door. Ed sure can steer a steer. But if Big Ed's so smart, why can't he ride his horse?
Only smart is have the answer.
Could this be their last chance now? In it comes! Monsters of the far post! He scored! It's the honey! Sugar puffs are delicious like puffs of wheat dressed in little honey jackets!
That's the bowl. Now for the cup. Excuse me.
He turns! He lifts the cup! And Wembley goes monster mad!
Get a free prehistoric pet from special packs of sugar puffs. Prehistoric pets. Get them before they're extinct. Thumbs up!
Now, if you love playing games as much as we all do, then you are going to love this programme.
It's Thumbs Up! Full of fun! Bouncing, stacking, climbing, linking, dressing up and hunting for buried treasure. Thumbs Up, Thursdays 20 to 4 on CITV.
Here's something to put your thumbs up to. I think we're going to be heading over to Africa.
Young Ozzy Owl lives in this tree house with Wise Owl, Harriet, and his best friend, Fuzzy the Caterpillar. One day, Ozzy and Fuzzy were up bright and early. Ozzy was waiting impatiently for Postman Crow to arrive with the morning mail. Ooh, I hope there's a letter for me, Fuzzy. I love getting letters. 3 minutes behind schedule. More speed to the tail feathers. Nothing must stop the mail from getting through. Ah, morning, Ozzy. What do you think of my landing this time? Better than yesterday? Ah! Oh, it sure was, Postman Crow. This time you didn't break a thing. Ooh. Have you got a letter for me today? I sure do, Ozzy. There's a letter from your Uncle Howell, the great explorer. Ah! Oh, super cool. He's in Africa, and he says he's met lots of new friends on his travels. I want to be just like Uncle Howell when I grow up and explore lots of different places. Well, I know all about Africa, Ozzy. I used to live there, wrestling elephants for a living. Oh, that's fantastic. You must be super strong, Postman Crow. Elephants are so huge.
Oh, that sounds very unlikely to me, Ozzy. The only wrestling Postman Crow's done is to wrestle worms out of the ground.
Ooh, well, I've been to Africa before and seen all sorts of animals, but it's such a big place. I'd love to go again. Africa indeed. You're only a little owl, Ozzy. You haven't been any further than your treehouse. I have too.
He really has, Postman Crow. Ozzy never fibs.
Maybe not, but I think he has a good imagination. It's true, Postman Crow. I can go there any time I want. In fact, I might even go today. Well, say hi to your Uncle Howell for me, Ozzy. Got to fly. Oh, please let me go there today, Wise Owl. Please, please, please.
All right, you Ozzy. Just let me say the magic words. Twit, 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 twit.
Woo! I've arrived. I wonder if I'll meet Uncle Howell on my travels.
I don't think so, Ozzy. He's probably exploring Australia by now.
Oh, I want to be a great explorer one day, just like Uncle Howell. It'll be super cool.
Well, if you want to do that, Ozzy, you'll have to work hard at school.
Gosh, Wise Owl, look at those birds. They're so tall and pink.
Those are flamingos, Ozzy, and those long legs allow them to wade in shallow water to feed on fish and insects.
Ooh, they do look funny, Wise Owl. They look like they're walking on stilts. Wouldn't it be great to have legs as long as that?
Oh, we can soon fix that, young Aussie.
What do you mean, Wise Owl? I can't make my legs grow.
Oh, yes, you can, Aussie, with the help of my magic.
Oh, look at me. I'm growing. Oh, this is great. Oh, what do you think? Don't I look cool?
Oh, I don't know about that, Aussie. You're the first long-legged pink owl I've ever seen.
Oh, well, I think I looked cool. Hey, flamingos, didn't I look great? I look just like one of you. Oh, well, I'm going to explore Africa some more. I might meet some other animals, just like Uncle Hal.
Wise Owl, Postman Crow will never believe Ozzy when he tells him he grew legs as tall as a flamingo. But he would think he looked silly with pink feathers. Ha!
I didn't look silly, Harriet. Anyway, I found some more animals. Look, they're cats.
They aren't cats, Ozzy. They're lions, and I think you should be very careful.
But Wise Owl, they look friendly enough. They're having a nap in the sun.
They may be having a nap, but they can move a lot faster than you can, Ozzy, and they might decide to have you for their lunch. Ozzy, look out!
Ah! Oh. Well, I don't think I'll get any closer. I think he's a bit grumpy.
Maybe you should keep exploring, Ozzy, and find some friendlier animals.
Oh, Wise Owl, that was close. Ozzy almost got eaten by that lion. Just wait until I tell Postman Crow about that.
Oh, well, Harriet, I think we'd better keep a close eye on Ozzy. Who knows what trouble he could get up to next.
Wise Owl, I found some of my favourite animals, an elephant. And look, they're having a wash.
Oh, I wish you liked washing so much, Ozzy.
I wouldn't mind washing if I had a beak as long as that. It's ginormous.
That's not a beak, Ozzy. It's a trunk. And I could give you one if you want.
Ooh, no thanks, Wise Owl. If I had a nose as big as that, everyone would laugh at me, especially Harriet.
Well, he would look rather silly.
Hey, Wise Owl, look at this animal.
That's a rhino, Ozzy.
Ooh, isn't he big? And that horn on his nose looks sharp.
Well, I think you should stay out of his way, too, Ozzy.
Ooh, maybe he's met Uncle Hal and likes little owls. Ooh. Hey, Rhino, have you seen my Uncle Hal? Oh. Then again, maybe he hasn't.
Oh, dear. Ozzy will never learn. He's always getting himself into trouble.
I'm not getting into trouble, Harriet. In fact, I found some nice friendly animals. Look, they're springbok.
They certainly are, Ozzy. But do you know why they're called springbok?
Ooh, it's because of the way they spring into the air. Ooh, I bet I could jump as high as that. Ooh.
Don't be silly, Ozzy. You're only a little bird. You could never jump that high.
Oh, yes, I can, if I wear big springs on my feet. Ooh.
You little trickster.
I think I've had enough exploring for one day, Wise Owl. I'm coming home. Oh, well, I didn't see Uncle Hal while I was in Africa. Where do you think he's gone now?
Oh, who knows, Ozzy? Maybe next time you'll get a postcard from Timbuktu.
Oh, that would be super cool. Tomorrow I might write to Uncle Hal and tell him all about my great adventure, like almost getting eaten by a lion and growing as tall as a flamingo. But for now, I think I'll go and explore my nice warm bed. One day, I will be a great explorer like my Uncle Hal, Fuzzy, and then I'll send you postcards from different countries. Good night, Wise Owl. Good night, Harriet.
Good night, Ozzy.
Good night, Ozzy.
Good night, little Ozzy. We'll come back and visit you again soon.
9:30, more medieval sleuthing as the contrite cleric Cadfael investigates a double monastic murder.
It wasn't me she ran to when she needed help, it was you. And you sent her straight to the devil.
That's Tuesday on Yorkshire.
Children's ITV begins in 10 minutes' time after our latest news headlines from ITN.
Good afternoon. The parents of the murdered schoolboy Thomas Marshall went in front of the cameras today and made a dramatic appeal for information about his death. They said they had lost the most precious thing they had. Police say Thomas was a CB radio enthusiast and might have arranged to meet his killer through it.
Carol and John Marshall agreed to appear at a news conference today in the hope that their appeal might help police find their son's killer, who has been described as incredibly dangerous. An officer read their statement.
Words cannot express the pain we feel at losing the most precious thing we had, our dear son Thomas. Thomas was at the start of a life full of promise. Please do not allow another child to be deprived of his future in such a brutal way.
Detectives also revealed today that Thomas had been using a CB radio and could have been in contact with his killer. As Thomas's body was found 50 miles from home just 23 hours after he disappeared, police say some kind of vehicle would have been used and they still need help from motorists. Police hope that today's appeal and the new information they've released may help build up what has so far remained a very hazy picture of the little boy's last movements. Lauren Taylor, ITN, Norfolk.
The husband of the so-called Lady in the Lake appeared in court today charged with her murder. Gordon Park, hidden by a blanket, was accused of murdering Carol Park 21 years ago and dumping her body in Coniston Water. He was remanded in custody by Barrow magistrates. A son sacrificed his own life to save his father's when their bank holiday fishing trip off the Welsh coast ended in disaster. Charles Brodie and his father, John, were thrown into the water by a freak wave with just one pair of inflated rubber waders as water wings.
Plucked from the sea by lifeboatmen after surviving 20 hours in the water, fisherman John Brodie is grateful to be alive. The crew were amazed that Mr. Brodie was relatively in good shape. The fisherman and his son Charles had been thrown overboard from their cabin cruiser after a freak wave overturned the boat.
Hello, mate. Can you hear me? I'm Sam. Yeah, let's have a look at your eyes.
Neither was wearing a life jacket. Instead, they made makeshift buoyancy aids by blowing up 2 pairs of fishing waders. Charles sacrificed his own life to give his father a better chance of survival. He swam away in an attempt to make the shore after 6 hours, fearing he was being a burden. The helicopter crew took Mr. Brodie to hospital. He's suffering from hypothermia. He owes his life to his son. Hopes of a second miraculous survival are fading as a search for him has been called off. Sue Turton, ITN.
The International Development Secretary Claire Short today denied that she'd been sidelined by the government over her handling of the Montserrat crisis, while the residents on the island continue to flee from the erupting volcano. The aid programme here is being led by a government action committee headed by the Foreign Secretary. Claire Short dismissed suggestions that that was a snub.
Doing more coordinating like we've been doing from the beginning.
What about the setting up of the committee? Is that a snub in any way to you?
It's not a new committee. The Foreign Office have been coordinating from the beginning.
Do you not?
A blind woman has dropped her plans to buy a flat because other residents didn't want her there. Lorna Tandy wanted to buy the purpose-built flat in Bournemouth, but was too upset after 8 people living there signed a petition saying she would be a fire hazard. And on the early evening news, we'll hear from Lorna Tandy about how she feels about that. Also, the Prime Minister returns from holiday tonight to a full desk. All has not been peace among his ministers while he's been away. We'll assess the problems awaiting him. Join me, 5:40.
Good afternoon, welcome to Calendar. A group of parents are taking their local education authority to court in an attempt to get their children into the school of their choice. 10 children from Rotherham have been told they can't go to the nearest school to their homes because they don't live in the designated catchment area.
These children could be staying at home when the new term starts. They're part of a group of 10 living less than a mile from Old Hall School. They're being refused places because they don't live in the official catchment area.
We're quite angry. Passionate, I think, is a more of an appropriate word. We are backing our children. We are going to go all the way. We are now waiting for a court date. It's going to court. We're taking the LEA and the council to court on this one.
Instead of going to the school around the corner from their homes in West Hill, Rotherham Education Authority insists they must go to Kimberworth Comprehensive, a bus ride away, a decision which no one can understand.
I'm going to miss all my friends and I'll be a bit upset.
I don't see why my son shouldn't be able to go to the school of his choice when other children that live a lot further away are allowed to go and my son isn't.
We're doing this for the children. It's not just for us, it's for our children. It's for 10 children at the moment, plus for the future generation that's on West Hill, and we feel we've been victimised.
If the dispute hasn't been resolved when term starts, the parents say their children won't be going to school at all. So far, the Education Authority has refused to comment on the case.
A Bradford woman will learn this afternoon whether she has to relive the trauma of seeing her boyfriend shot dead in America before a courtroom. It's almost 4 years since Margaret Jagger was injured and her boyfriend Gary Colley killed in the shooting at the roadside rest stop in Florida in 1993. Audra Akins is serving 27 years for the murder. At a hearing earlier this year, threw out a portion of his original plea. Officials are attempting to have him recharged over the wounding of Miss Jagger, which could mean she has to return to Florida to give evidence. The family of CJD victim Matthew Parker in London this afternoon calling on the government to fund more research into the disease. 19-year-old Matthew, who was from Doncaster, died in March. His family are handing in a petition to Downing Street calling for a public inquiry into the spread of CJD. 5 pilots have just touched down after a 2,500-mile fundraising trip round the coast of Britain to help a young leukemia victim. The trip by Microlight was inspired by 4-year-old Ashley Jones from Bridlington. He suffers from leukemia and is in urgent need of a bone marrow transplant. A team of 5 Microlight pilots have just arrived back from their 2,500 miles trip around the coast of Britain. They've been raising money to help little Ashley.
It wasn't the roughest day, but it was a bit rainy and a bit grim in places. But we were very happy when Rufford loomed into view.
And that's about it from me. On tonight's calendar, we'll be talking to some real male strippers whose experiences have inspired the new film, The Full Monty, which is set in Sheffield. You just have to contain yourselves till 5 to 6. Until then, from me, bye-bye.
In 5 special edition packs, Walker's new cheese and chive flavour are so irresistible.
This is what I want, what I really, really want.
There's no more Mr. Spice Guy. Stubborn dirt like this can be removed with tough scourers, but they can also scratch delicate surfaces. New Vileda Active Wave is different. Its special coating is made from per-active material which breaks up the dirt and lifts it clean away. It's effective even on tough baked-on dirt. Perfectly clean and without a scratch, even on really delicate surfaces. New Vileda Active Wave. Tough on dirt, but gentle on surfaces.
I know a secret place.
Thanks, Cabby. Well, here we are.
3:30 on CITV.
Good afternoon, ladies and gents. Welcome to Tuesday's CITV.
Do you think he'll be all right, Marjorie? He seems very young to be going to school.
Well, it's not big school, Tiddle-up, isn't it? I mean, it's play school, and play school is meant for young children.
Yes, but he's not a young child, is he? He's a young riddler, tiddler. That's different. Mossop, are you sure you want to go to play school? Wouldn't you rather have lessons with me and learn how to be a riddler?
Don't want to be a riddler. Want to be a boy.
But you were a riddler once, you know. Don't you remember? You were a very clever riddler. So clever that you learned how to do thought magic. And that's how you managed to turn yourself into a baby. Wouldn't you like to learn to be a riddler again?
Don't want to be a riddler. Want to be a boy. Want to go to play school. And if you don't let me, I'll hold my breath till I burst.
All right, then. Come on.
Come on, Mossop.
Gore! Look at that old schoolboy going off to school. Go away. Mummy giving the little boy a clean hanky, has she? Go away, or I'll tell. You're a big softy, you are. Here, what's that? Not telling you, so there. Go on, let's have a look. You leave my lolly alone. Oh, it's his lolly, is it? You big softy. That's a lollop, that is, not a lolly. Only babies call them lollies. What are you doing anyway, carrying it around with you? You're too big to have a lollop, you are. Come on. Marjorie, tiddle up! He's trying to take my lolly!
What's the matter? What's happened?
He tried to take my lolly off me! Oh, he only wanted to have a look at his lollop, and he started crying and shouting. He tried to take it off me!
Oh, Midler, that wasn't nice. He loves his lollop.
Big soft apers. What do you want to take it to school for anyway?
Well, lots of little children take their favourite toy to play school, especially on the first day. It makes them feel they've got a friend with them.
Oh, you only wanted to look.
And you, Mossop, have got to learn to stand up for yourself. Children tease each other, and if every time they do you burst into tears, then they'll just tease you more.
Sheesh. Cry baby. They call me a cry baby. Ah!
Well, so you are. Now, come on. It's a big play school, but it does look fun, Mossop.
It looks big.
I expect you've got a few butterflies in your tummy.
Oh, Mossop don't eat butterflies.
Oh, Mossop, she doesn't mean that. She means you must be feeling nervous. Are you?
Bit.
Well, it's not surprising. Everybody feels nervous on their first day at play school. I remember I did.
You went to play school?
Yes, I did.
Must have been a long, long time ago.
Yes, it was. But I can still remember how nervous I was. And do you know what else I remember?
What?
I remember how much I enjoyed it. I came out from my first day at play school and I thought, oh, I can't wait to go back there again. Come on. Play school, you can have a lot of fun at play school. You can play with shapes or build with bricks. See how paste and paper sticks. You can paint a picture or play in the sand. Model with plasticine or squishy in your hand. Play school, it's a bit like school, but more like play. Play school, I wish I could go there every day.
Whee!
You could go to the playhouse and pretend to cook, or listen to a story from the teacher's book. Play school, it's a bit like school, but more like play. Play school, I wish I could go there every day. Yes, I wish I could go there every day.
I'm going to build a house.
A house?
A house for Mossy to live in.
Oh, well, that's lovely, Mossop, but riddlers don't live in houses, do they? They live in wells, or in caves, or in holes in the ground.
I don't want to be a riddler. Want to be a boy.
Oh, all right then.
Want to live in your house forever and ever.
You are doing a lot of different things, Martha, but be careful you don't get the paint on your face, eh?
Don't care. I'm doing a car.
Oh. It's a lovely car.
Yeah. Mossy going to have a car like this when he grow up.
But, Martha, riddlers don't drive.
Keep telling you, don't want to be a riddler, want to be a boy. Oh, hello. Come on, everybody. Come and play in my house, everybody. Good, isn't it? Nice and big.
I'm really worried about him, Marjorie. He is a riddler, whether he likes it or not. Oh, I wish he'd never done that thought magic. It's changed him so much.
Look, everybody. Mossy's found a hat.
Well, some things about him haven't changed. He still doesn't always get it right. Well, did you enjoy that?
Yes. Want to come again?
Well, you can. You can come back tomorrow. What should we have for supper tonight, Tiddle-up?
Can we have that lovely spaghetti that you do?
One with spinach and coriander.
That's right. I really like that. So doesn't...
What's the matter?
Lolly! Where's Lolly?
I thought you had him with you.
No! Where is he?
Well, I saw you with him in play school.
You must have left him there, and the school will all be locked up now.
Oh, Lolly!
Oh, Martha, don't upset yourself. We'll get him tomorrow.
Don't want him tomorrow. Want him now.
Well, I'm sorry, Mossop, but you can't have him now.
I want my Lolly.
Mossop, do you know what you just did?
Got Lolly back.
I know, but you did it with Riddler magic. You are a Riddler after all.
I'm not a Riddler. I'm a boy.
You're a Riddler. You can do Riddler magic. That's how you got Lolly back.
Riddler magic? Want building bricks. Want paints. Want water.
Ow! Mossop!
Tiddle-up. Oh, never mind. Oh, he'll get the hang of it soon.
I hope so.
Watch out! Here comes Boo!
Tickety-boo to you!
He's your favourite friend, this little green thing who loves to have a play, a dance and a sing.
They're all tickety-boo!
There's lots of poems and jokes thrown in too, so why not join in the fun with Tickety-Boo, Wednesdays 20 to 4 on CITV.
Oh, please, madam.
The brand new Ripsaw at Alton Towers. Can you cut it? Could this be their last chance now? In it comes! Monsters of the Farmhouse! He scored! It's the honey! Sugar puffs, the delicious light puffs of wheat dressed in little honey jackets!
That's the bowl. Now for the cup. Excuse me.
He turns! He lifts the cup! And Wembley goes monster mad!
Get a free prehistoric pet from special packs of sugar puffs. Prehistoric pets. Get them before they're extinct.
McDonald's takes you round the world in 20 seconds flat. Start in Kenya. Arriba! It's Mexico. Now we're in Japan. And at last, Holland. Phew, we made it! There's a different Hot Wheels car or mini Barbie doll of the world each week when you buy a Happy Meal at McDonald's. thumbs up.
Now, if you love playing games as much as we all do, then you are going to love this programme.
It's thumbs up, full of fun. Bouncing, stacking, climbing, linking, dressing up and hunting for buried treasure. Thumbs up, Thursdays 20 to 4 on CITV. Yeah, hello. Cheese is up now. Get down from there, you nutcase. We're off to the land of Oz.
Young Ozzy Owl lives in this treehouse with Wise Owl, Harriet, and his best friend, Fuzzy the Caterpillar. One evening, Ozzy's friend Henry the Hare came to visit.
Oh, come on, Oz, let's do something. I'm bored. What can we do, Henry? We've already played all of my games twice, and it's too late to go outside and play. Hey, I know, Oz. Let's put on a circus show for Harriet and Wise Owl. Oh, that's a super cool idea, Henry. We can do lots of circus tricks. Come on, you two. This'll be fun.
Wise Owl, what are you doing up here on the treehouse platform?
My dear Harriet, I have decided to become a great painter. My pictures will make me famous.
But Wise Owl, it's dark. How can you paint animals in the dark?
Oh, Harriet, there are lots of animals in our wood tonight, and I'm going to paint them all.
Well, I'll believe it when I see it. I'd better go and see what Ozzy is up to. Let me know when you've finished your great masterpiece.
I think my first painting will be a wildlife picture. Now, let me see. Where shall I start? Ah, if I'm not mistaken, there's a fox. That would make a perfect picture to hang on the wall. Oh, my goodness, he does move fast. Stay still, you silly thing. I can't paint you if you keep moving like that. Oh, no, it is hopeless. Now he's disappeared altogether, and I've only drawn his tail. I'll never get my picture finished like this. I'll have to find another animal, one that stays still.
Welcome to the Ozzy and Henry... Oh, yeah, and Fuzzy circus show.
This should be good.
Presenting for your entertainment, the one and only Henry the Juggling Hare. Oh, thank you. For my first trick, I shall juggle two large tomatoes without the aid of a safety net. A 1 and a 2. Ooh.
Yes, well, I think you might need some more practice, Henry.
Oh, dear. This is harder than I thought it would be. Every time I find an animal to paint, it moves. There must be an animal that will stay still long enough for me to paint it. Ah, there's a bird. He would make a perfect picture. If only he'd stand nice and still so I could paint all of him. I wonder what he's looking for. Has he lost something? Oh, silly me, of course. He's having his dinner. I think I'll stick to roast potatoes and Brussels sprouts myself. Oh, no. Come back, you silly bird. I haven't finished. Oh, dear, my picture isn't turning out the way I expected at all.
It's nice of you to come and visit us, Postman Crow, even if you do have to watch Ozzy's circus show.
Ah! I don't mind, Harriet. I love circuses, especially clowns.
Well, we have enough clowns around here, don't we, Ozzy?
Harriet, shh. Fuzzy is about to perform his first death-defying feat. And now, ladies and gentlemen, for your enjoyment, may I present Fuzzy the Balancing Caterpillar.
Ozzy, that's our best crockery.
Don't worry, Harriet. Fuzzy won't drop them. Oh, then again, perhaps he might.
Oh, perhaps there's an animal in the next field that I can paint a picture of. Now, let's see. Ah, that rabbit will make a fine picture. Now, if he would just keep still while I paint his long ears. Now, hey, no, keep still, you silly little bunny. Stay still. That's it. No, I can't paint you if you keep leaping around like that. Stay still. Now, just there. No, don't. Oh, bobbling beaks, he's run off. And I haven't finished my picture yet. Oh, wait a minute, I can see a frog. Now, he's staying nice and still. I'll just get his legs right. That's it, don't move. Harriet is going to love my painting. Now, just a line here and a splash of paint there. There, finished. And it's rather good, even if I do say so myself. I can't wait for Harriet to see it.
And now, for our finale, you will thrill to the sight of Oz, the tightrope walking owl.
I got a bad feeling about this. Ozzy, don't you think it's a little bit high?
Oh, don't be silly, Harriet. I'm a bird. I'm used to being high up in the sky. Now just watch.
Ah! Don't worry, Harriet. This should be good. After all, what could go wrong?
With Ozzy, everything.
Oh, this will be our best trick yet, Fuzzy.
Oh!
Henry, help! Oh, no, hang on, Oz. I'll save you.
Oh dear. I guess you're lucky you didn't run away with the circus after all, Ozzy.
Maybe you're right, Harriet. I don't think I'm very good at tightrope walking. Well, it's the end of the show, folks.
Not yet, Ozzy. There's one more trick for you and Henry to perform. Cleaning up the mess you've caused before you go to bed.
Oh, so, what do you think of my picture, Postman Crow?
Very nice, Wise Owl. I'm not sure what it is, but it looks very nice.
Oh, what do you mean you don't know what it is? It's, well, let me see. There's a bird and, yes, a frog and, well, I think there's a bit of rabbit in here somewhere.
Yes, it's very good, Wise Owl. In fact, I'd like you to paint for me.
Oh, well, a self-portrait. Oh, I could start right away.
No, I'd like you to paint me front door.
Oh. Well, Fuzzy, Harriet wasn't pleased with our circus, but I thought it was fun. Good night, Wise Owl. Good night, Harriet.
Good night, Ozzy.
Good night, Ozzy.
Good night, little Ozzy. We'll come back and visit you again soon.
Why don't you join us on Chatteratty Farm for a galloping good time? CITV.
The place for chatter happy ponies, Wednesdays 4:10.
Relax. Learn to improve.
Ready to go.
Children's BBC, we're ready to go.
Otis, ready to go? No, I've got to have my manicure and a pedicure. I've got to proof my showbiz hair, and I've got to buy some sparkly clothes. What? Oh, yes, ready to go. Of course I'm ready to go.
This morning we're going to do things slightly differently. We're actually going to read out your birthday cards after we watch the Teletubbies. And here are the Teletubbies, and you can sing along with Debbie.
You can see that episode of the Teletubbies again at 7:30 tomorrow morning. And we can do the opening of Teletubbies with the birthday card. You ready, Dom? Oh-wee! Uh-oh. Yeah, anyway. Let's do the first card now. This is Poe. Look at Poe this morning. If I pull this antenna at the top, you can see it reveals a picture. Take a close look at the picture, because that's Hannah, whose birthday is. Happy birthday with lots of love from Mum and Dad and all your family and friends. Have a very good day.
Have a nice day. The next one, it's Okie Doke. Okie Dokes was on earlier today, but here's Okie Doke again. If we lift up this leaf, underneath we can see it's the birthday girl. Happy birthday to Miranda, who's 2 years old today. I hope you have a lovely birthday today. Lots of love from your mummy and your daddy and all your family and friends.
Excellent. I like your necklace in the picture there as well.
Very nice.
Here's Winnie the Pooh now. Winnie the Pooh, a couple of pots of honey at the bottom there. And at the top, if we have a look underneath this balloon, we can see the birthday boy. It's James. Happy birthday, James. You're 2, with lots of love from Mum and Dad. And Daniel and Leanne, if you go down to the bottom, you can see Daniel and Leanne hiding under the honey pots. Hello to you two as well.
Have a nice day. Oh, happy day. And the next one is Lala, who is here wishing someone a very happy 5th birthday. If we lift up the tummy, there's Katie. Have a happy birthday, Katie. This card comes with lots of love from your mummy and your daddy and also your sister, Joanna.
Here's a penguin now on the beach as well. Hello, Mr. Penguin. And we can see in the picture here, it's a rather big picture, you can see it's a birthday boy there pushing a pram. It's Sean. Happy birthday, Sean. It's your birthday. We lots of love from Mum and Dad, Grandpa and Nanny, Nigel, and the rest of the family as well. Have a very happy birthday.
Now, Postman Pat and his friend are looking down this hole because I think something's fallen down. If we listen out, you can even hear something. Oh, dear. It's just fallen down into the bottom of the hole. Don't know who it is, but I know it's definitely not Leo, who's 2 years old today. Happy birthday, lots of love from your mummy and your daddy and all the rest of your family and your friends. Have a nice day.
And have a very happy birthday if it's your day today.
Yeah, talking of birthdays, got to say happy birthday to my brother Jim, who's 23 today.
Well,
happy birthday, brother.
He's far too old for the birthday slot.
All right, then he's 5 years old.
Okay. Well, that's it for this morning.
Yeah, don't forget to watch tomorrow morning where we have special guest Jay Burridge from Smart. We
And Children's BBC starts earlier this afternoon, 20 minutes earlier at 20 to 4 with Kirsten. See ya. Bye.
There are only 2 things women want to know about clothes. Does it make me look fat? And does it make me look fat?
But you can look great whatever your size if you play by the rules. A touch of style, clever makeup and of course the right underwear can turn a pear into a peach.
The key to success is not down to money. It's about cracking the dress codes.
So whether you want to look gorgeous for your passport, revamp your wardrobe or get a bit of sexy French polish, get into looking good starting next Tuesday at 8:30 on BBC Two.
Looking at detail now on BBC Two, pattern, tone and texture in our art class. Awash with colour.
Hello, Dermot Kavanagh here. Today I'm driving Suzanne Dando to one of my favourite villages on the County Antrim coast, Glenarm. It has many attractions for the artist: a pretty coast, a beautiful red brick church and a wonderful stone-built castle and bridge.
Now, Dermot, we've just had the most glorious walk up the coast there, and we have a beautiful river, we've passed the most stunning of castles and an exquisite church, and we're not drawing any of them. And don't think I'm complaining, but you've led me up a back street. For what?
Well, we don't always have to paint the grand panorama. And what we're dealing with today is pattern, tone and texture. And just look in front of you with all those jumble of buildings, the limestone walls, and the way the sun's shining through there, dappling on the ground. We couldn't want for better than that.
Well, the next question is, of course, Dermot, and I've asked you this many times, I know that. Where do I start? Because there's quite a lot in there, isn't there?
Yeah,
I know the closest point, but the closest point is the wall on the left-hand side.
It's quite a complicated wee sketch, but you're good now, Suzanne.
Oh, you're
really
so kind.
Along, so you should be able to handle this okay.
You'll be pleased to know I think I've finished.
That's quite a bit of detail on that, Suzanne. But that's enough for us to carry on with.
Okay. Well, you've been busy. You've been mixing up some colours.
Right. We're using a colour here for the sunlit area of stone, and it's a mixture of raw sienna, water with the slightest little bit of crimson. And because we're using lots of water, we're lowering the tone of the colour. Now you can see, looking at the bridge, it's very light, very washy, and that's a very washy colour.
That sun is quite strong on the bridge, isn't it?
So do you just want to take that first of all and cover the bridge with that initial wash?
Just the front facing of the bridge, because the rest obviously is in shadow.
Yeah, cover the whole bridge, even where the shadow is, just cover right over that.
Oh, even, right,
Yeah.
I see, because we were darkened on top after.
Yeah. Now, I've changed the colour to give the mid-tone of the sunlit stones.
Yeah.
Now, we still have the raw sienna and the crimson and the water in the mix, but now I have introduced the light red. And we just go ahead and put that on the underside and left-hand side of each stone. So, if you want to carry on and do
finish
that.
off on that. And that applies over here as well?
Yeah. The next colour is light red, ultramarine, with raw sienna, and that's giving us a darker tone. And if we just put that on the underside and the left-hand side, but still not covering all of the last tone we put on, that again is just giving us a third dimension to that colour. So off you go and put that in. This is a different brush, a number 5. And we're going to use this here for putting in the cracks. Now, you see the way the cracks are very dark, you know, in here. You can actually see that it's a very dark join. So again, using that brush, that's a very dark mixture of burnt sienna, light red, and ultramarine blue. And you're going to emphasize more the left-hand side and the underneath side.
Okay.
Looks really good.
Yeah, I'm quite pleased with that. I know it's a sort of a process that you have to sort of add slowly each time, but it really does have the desired effect. Oh, I'm pleased with that.
What you're trying to say, Suzanne, it looks like stones.
Yeah, I suppose I am. I think I'm ready now for a slightly more adventurous project with our tones, patterns and textures.
Well, I have the perfect place for you. There's a lovely church, there's a lovely sea, there's lovely buildings, but we're not going to paint any of those. We're going to another back street, Suzanne. Further down country is Rostrevor, nestling at the foot of the Mourne Mountains, and a perfect spot for painting. This particular scene is really going to let us bring our paintings to life, with pattern in the buildings, tone in the shades of colours we use, and texture in the stone and brickwork.
Once again, Dermot, you've taken me away from the main road and we've just found an absolutely beautiful little spot. I think the name lends itself, doesn't it? The Fairy Glen.
Certainly does, Suzanne. And on the way in, we drove past some beautiful scenery. But here we are again, looking at another back street.
Well, it's hardly a back street though, isn't it? It's just a pretty part of a very nice walkway with the river running beside us. And of course, we've just got a perfect scene. So if we sort of recap and look at exactly what our purpose is today, Dermot, we've got the 3 issues, pattern, tone and texture. Now, tone we don't really concentrate on until we get to the painting, do we?
That's right. You see, as you say, we're dealing with the pattern, tone and texture. Okay. And here we have it all here. It's the perfect location for this subject. And we have the buildings, the bridge, all those roofs. The roofs are giving us the patterns.
Okay.
The bridge is going to give us the texture and the stonework. And then we have the shadows being cast across the grass, which again is going to give us tone and texture within the foreground.
And of course all the foliage that we've got from the left and also in the right coming up in front of the houses, is that part of the pattern as well?
That's exactly right. All the things that we've talked about over the last while, we are now pulling that all together to give us, you know, this ideal painting location, the ideal subject.
Right, so where to begin on something slightly complicated, we need to measure up presumably then?
That's right. First of all, we'll start with the bridge.
Okay.
And we'll use the bridge to give us scale, but in order to place the bridge, I think it's going to be beneficial for us, first of all, to measure across the page and get our locations. plotted out.
So we need to see how many of those bridges, or how many times it will fit into my page.
Yeah.
Right.
And then moving on to the bridge, and you can see that the bridge just comes up there at the end and goes up in a nice arch.
And we're looking at coming over to our sort of...
But you can see the end of that first house.
I
That's
see.
right. Yeah.
So sort of within our fifth section, really, isn't it?
Yeah. Now, I wanted just to establish our water line.
Right. Now, we have a bank that comes down from the left-hand side that runs under that first arch, doesn't it? That comes out from the wall.
Yeah.
So that drops down. I'd put those bushes in, wouldn't I, now, just to... Would I? Yeah, just to outline them.
Yeah.
Now, there's a bit of water line under the third, and then there's a load of foliage and bank,
Yeah,
isn't
put
there?
that water line in first of all. That comes across, always comes across level. And now you can bring that leg of the
my
buttress.
water line is going uphill. You should know that by now. Okay.
Now you can bring that leg of the buttress down to meet the water line.
That's it. That gives us the height of that.
That's it. Let's recap on what we have, Suzanne. We have established where the bridge is, and we have put in some of the foreground pathway. Now, the flower bed we've used for our scale to get the bridge, so we really have more or less every dimension that we need to work from.
Okay, so we then go on to the houses then?
That's right, yeah.
Right, well, the first and foremost is the green one. That's the one closest to us, isn't it? So I start with this corner of the house that it's closer to us.
Exactly.
And all these roofs.
Oh, they're going to be dead easy.
Thank you. Right. Well, they weren't quite as difficult, those roofs, as I thought they were going to be. Took a little bit of time, but I've added just a few little bit more details, Dermot. The windows, that's okay, and the sort of little cornicing around the top.
Yeah, it looks really well, and got them to fit into the space there. Very well indeed, Suzanne.
They look pretty, actually, don't they?
Yeah,
They're very sweet little cottages. Where next, then?
We're going to concentrate now with this big shadow that's cast by the trees on the left-hand side.
Yeah.
And the shadow's cast, you can see right across the path and down the bank. So we want to indicate where that shadow goes, just with a broken outline. We're not going to have any really straight lines, just a broken outline, and you can see that it follows the contour of the bank.
It falls down the bank, doesn't it?
Right down to the river.
Now, these shadows are sort of hitting that far bank, but the foliage is still, the tops of the foliage are still in sunlight. So I just take the line underneath?
Yep, and the tops of the foliage is just peeping up through the shadow and catching the sun, and we have to try and indicate that there, showing a broken outline. We don't want to go into too much detail here. It's just a broken outline to show where the shadow is.
Is that okay?
That's lovely.
Okay.
Because with the sun moving around us all day, we need to indicate the shadows.
Okay.
Well, if you just continue to put some figuring on that, Suzanne.
Okay.
I'll mix up a few paints, and I think it's near time we got into that with the paints.
Can't wait.
Yeah, the sky is dry, foreground's drying, so we can move in now and start to put on the colour tone for the roofs.
Okay.
Now, I've mixed up a beautiful colour here, and it's ultramarine with a touch of light red and some crimson, and it's a very, very weak wash, Suzanne.
Okay.
So what we do is we just start with this main roof in the centre of the picture and put that in on the top of the greenhouse, and remembering the directional brush strokes. So if you just want to carry on, and with that nice light colour, we want to cover all of the roofs.
It's a lovely colour, actually, isn't it?
It is, yeah. And don't worry about the dark ones and light ones. We do all this colour first, and then we go over that with a darker tone.
Okay. This one on the right, that's the same colour, isn't it?
Yeah.
So it's on all of the roofs, and
Yeah.
then we change the colour by adding a darker tone.
That's right. And then we can leave that to dry, and we'll move on and put in the green coloured house.
Okay.
Now, Suzanne, we've left a little space between the roof and the the wall of the house, so we can work away even though that's still damp. Now this is a new colour. It's a mixture of Windsor yellow, cerulean blue, and a slight touch of raw sienna, and we just put that on and cover it quickly, cutting round the windows.
Okay. You've got a perfect match of colour there. That house really is that colour. Comes with practice then.
Oh yes, like all colour mixing, you just have to keep practicing all the time. And cutting round the windows, and this is very important that we cut round the windows, because once we lose that white of the paper, we can't get it back again. So we have to be very careful and neat round those houses. Well, Suzanne, now that the first coat that we have put on the roofs is dry, we're going to take a look at the roofs again. Now, if you look up there, you can see that we have different shades, different tones of colour within that arrangement of roofs. Now, again, it's shadow that causes those different tones and different shades. So what we're going to do is go back into the original colour, and we're going to put another wash over some of those roofs, the ones that are facing away from the sun.
I see. So that the roof of the greenhouse for a start.
Yeah.
Now this is the same colour, but because we're doing it twice, it takes the tone down, doesn't it?
That's it.
And this one.
Now, that takes us down to those beautiful red brick cottages. And
With lots of little roofs.
And this is where we're going to give those cottages and those roofs, we're going to get all those patterns now with the, you know, the shadowed side of all those little V roofs. And it's just a matter of going across from right to left and putting all the shadowed sides of those roofs on. And you see that it's going to make all those roofs stand out. You can see that.
It does make a difference, doesn't it?
Now this is an underlying colour. It's the sunlit stone, but we're going to cover the whole bridge, and then, as we did with the roof, we can put on a darker tone, a darker shade on the places that aren't in direct sunlight. And that's right, onto that wall, the top of the wall, and then get onto the bridge.
The wall at the back there on the other side of the road as well.
Yeah, but
that joins up to the bridge, yeah?
That's it.
Well, this is the sort of tone colours that we were talking about that we can't actually express in a sketch, can we?
That's right. You know, we have to be painting to express these tones, and we're mixing up light shades of raw sienna and water, and then again we can change the tone of that by putting in more paint and thickening up the shade of the colour.
Okay.
So this is going to sound really silly, Suzanne, but I want you to go over. I want you to go over the arches as well. You know, don't worry.
The inside of them, where it's very dark.
Because that's all going to be very dark, and it doesn't really matter that we're using a dark colour over a light colour, because we can hide the light colour.
Okay.
It's only when we're working backwards, you know, whenever we have to retain a light colour, we can't go over that with a dark colour, but we can just sweep over everything here.
So I've just got to find those gaps really up amongst the tree, haven't I?
That's right. And you see, the thing is, that shows that you're actually thinking, you're planning what you're doing, because it's very important that you cut around the green, because we need to retain that light green to give that sunlit effect. And in places where we're going to put that light green in on the wall, we need to retain the white of the paper and cut round and leave those holes.
I think that's enough wall now, Dermot.
And while that's drying, Suzanne, we can then move on and go back to the wall of this greenhouse here.
Oh, I see,
Yeah, we're going back to the same process where we take the same colour and put it over the initial wash, and it gives us a darker shade, a darker tone of that wash. And cutting nice and neatly again around the windows and working it down. Bring it all down together. Don't try and do it all at once. Bring it down in degrees so that you don't get hard lines. Yes, Suzanne, I'm very impressed. Now, you've really got control of that brush, and you're cutting around your windows really well. Yes, and see the way you're cutting around the bush there, just to give enough, retain enough of that light colour so that you can have that nice sunlit colour shining through the bushes over there. Very good indeed.
Thank you.
Now, if you look ahead, you can see that just on the chimney breast that's coming down the wall, there's a step, just where those steps are shown there. There's something sticking out, and it's casting a shadow across the chimney breast. So yes, just about there. And there's one further down as well.
That one?
That's it. Yes, very nice.
Okay.
Now, we need to change brushes here, Suzanne, because we'll use a number 5 sable. Here you go.
Thank you.
Now, for underneath the eaves, you can see that on
Yeah.
the left-hand side of the building, there's a shadow cast there as well. So if
Same
you just-
colour then?
Same colour, and we'll use this brush to put in that shadow, and then underneath the windows.
Okay, under every
Yes.
windowsill.
Now, we have to be very careful here, Suzanne, because if you notice, round the inside of that windowsill, or round the inside of the window, we have a white frame.
Yes.
And we have to try and retain that white.
So a very small
we
line.
move, that's it, moving out just to give that reveal where it turns around. That's the thickness of the wall before it hits the window.
Okay.
And that is not in direct sunlight, so therefore it's going to be casting a shadow.
Mhm.
So that's what we do. We just use the same colour again, and because we have the initial wash there, the second wash shines up as a darker shade or a darker tone of that colour.
It never fails to amaze me that with just the little things that we've been doing, like the windows and the shadows and those windows over on the small Victorian cottages, it really does all of a sudden come together, doesn't it? It becomes a picture as opposed to the sort of paint that I've blobbed on in the earlier stages.
That's right, you see, and that's what we're trying to do. And we're going to move on now to the bridge.
Mhm.
And, you know, we're looking at the bridge and we're going to give that form.
Okay.
Now, we can see that it's made up of a lot of different colours of stones, but they're
Mhm.
all more or less the same colour. They're just different shades and different tones of the same colour.
Yes.
So we already have that underlying colour down, that raw sienna and water
Yeah.
with a wee bit of crimson. Now we want to move on and put some varying tones on this. So with those three colours, starting with the mid-tone colour, individual stones, we don't want to have a bridge that we can see, you know, like there's a stone there, a stone there, a stone
Not
there.
too
so we
regimented.
can count them. So what we do is we put a few lines in, a few broken lines to indicate small stones, large stones.
So
but
very
we're-
similar with what we did with our sketch
Exactly,
on our bridge
exactly.
earlier
Yeah.
today. Okay.
I always say, if you can't count them, don't put them in. And the best compliment you'll ever get, Suzanne, is whenever someone looks at your painting and says, gosh, look at all the detail in it. But it's
And
the
gosh, I can't count those stones.
yeah, but it's the impression that you give by indicating detail. It looks as if it is reality. Now, we're going to start with the foliage on the right-hand side and this big tree that we're looking at. So again, it's your favourite technique, Suzanne. We're going to use the brush on its side and drawing it across the paper very, very lightly with the brush loaded with paint, just to give us that nice broken outline. Well, we're going to slightly obscure the windows. So just more or less pull that down, but don't lose all the yellow colour that we have there.
I have to say, Dermot, I really love doing trees and foliage.
And a really good job you're doing too, Suzanne. But don't overdo it now. That's, I think we'll leave it there. That looks very good.
Okay.
Yep. The only thing we have left here is the shadows in the foreground. And that's the big trees on the left casting the shadow across the pathway.
Yeah.
We're going to put those on now. Now, if we start at the bridge, just beyond the wall of the bridge, we can see that the shadow is coming down and we're cutting around, leaving those little holes of dappled light and running the contour down towards the water. Now, be very careful with this, that we don't come too far too quickly.
So a little section at a time so we don't get those dry lines as well.
That's right. And coming up,
Okay.
we'll take the whole path down with us as well. But remembering, if you can see light through the shadow,
Leave the
we have
patch.
to leave the patch.
Okay.
So coming quickly now, this is
Okay.
one of the areas we're going to have to work very quickly.
And little patches.
Yeah.
And following the contour of the ground, so that sweeps down across there.
That's lovely. Now you're coming to a big shaft of light there. You can see
I
over the
missed
grass.
that.
We're going to get a big flash of light where there's no tree to cast the shadow. So therefore, we're going to get lovely sunlit grass in that
So
position.
leave that gap, but with a jagged edge though, because
Yeah,
it's
exactly. Yes, Suzanne. Nice short strokes like that. A few more down here.
okay.
Right, stop painting. That's plenty.
Danger of doing too much.
Yeah, that's always the problem. Now, I think you'll agree, Suzanne, that from a point of view of a subject, it is excellent. We have the trees on the left, casting the shadows over the ground. We have the pattern and texture in the buildings. We have the tone in the stonework of the bridge and the houses. It is everything that we need. The ideal location. And I must say, very well executed by yourself.
Thanks, Dermot. I'm very pleased.
Well, your colour washes are getting stronger, Suzanne, but I must say your coffee's getting weaker.
Don't you be cheeky. I wish you'd get some smaller mugs, I must say. I expect the whole family drink out of this at one go, do they?
I normally use it for washing out my brushes. I don't know where you found that.
Thanks, Dermot. Right, where have we been this time?
We started off in Glenarm,
Yeah.
and then we moved to Rostrevor. And it was patterns, tones and texture. That's the subject we were dealing with this time.
Quite a difficult subject, I felt,
Yeah.
as a first attempt.
When we get to this stage where we have a lot of roofs and a lot of buildings, you're going to have problems. And one of the things that you must overcome is finding how to place your buildings, and that's going to give you a lot of problems. But I must say you have coped admirably with that.
Now, with the subject, pattern, tone and texture, we've of course covered those subjects on individual bases within our other subjects, but for this we've kind of brought it all together
That's
under
right.
one subject, haven't we?
Yeah, well, everything that we've covered over the last while, we've now brought together in our buildings, in our stonework, in our water, our foregrounds, the grasses, and the foliage as well. We're covering everything here, and it's just a bringing together of all the different subjects that we have looked at.
And then, of course, we did a very small colour study on here, just for an experience exercise, really, wasn't it? To get the pattern and the texture of that brickwork and the stonework.
Yeah. You see, it's all very well just to put on a wash for stone, but until you put on the 2 or 3 different shades within that stone, and then your dark outlines to give the stone texture and form, it doesn't really come to life. And that's why we use that, and we haven't covered that before.
It's like a layering process, really,
Yeah.
isn't it? Well, should we look at what it should look like in its finished form?
Well, this is
That's
a
rather
full
lovely,
painting
isn't it?
of that particular scene.
Mhm.
Now, I'll just point out a few things here.
Yep.
We have the shadows, first of all, which is the strongest aspect within the composition.
Yep.
And the shadows are cast from the left across towards the right, and the buildings are casting those shadows across the grass, which is giving lovely patterns and tones along the sunlit grass. And you can see how much it makes this sunlit area stand out. By putting on the shadows, it brings the light out, and that's what we're trying to do.
But over here, this is something that really sort of built up, didn't it? That
Yeah.
nice layering of the stonework, as we said, and the little bit of moss. That sort of suddenly started to happen.
By bleeding the green into the wall, it gives you that effect. Moving on to Rostrevor, the fairy glen and the perfect composition.
Oh, it was, and the perfect location. I have to say, it's probably one of my favourite to date. But it had everything that we needed there, really, Dermot, wasn't it? The sort of the bridge for the texture. We had foliage, and the colour of the houses for the tone and the pattern in all those roofs. And then, of course, I was introduced to 2 new things. One was the colour of the greenhouse. That was a lovely green, and I thought that was a beautiful colour to actually apply. And then, of course, the pattern in these little Victorian cottages, which was a new shape for me to master. And I thought at first it was going to be a bit daunting, but once I got into the flow of it, and the idea, as you said to me, think of them as upturned V's, made life a lot easier. Fantastic shape as well, weren't they? But I think one of the good things about the exercise we did in Glenarm was that we had the chance to do a little bit on a bridge, and we've got another beautiful bridge here, slightly bigger, slightly more elaborate, and again the texture in that was beautiful, wasn't it? And it was fun to be able to do all those different lines and see this bridge all of a sudden appearing out of the page almost.
Yeah. The bridge is very important. We're using it as a focal point. And we're using that. The eye comes in, sees the bridge, and then leads on to the buildings behind. So it's in how we treat the bridge that leads the eye in. And with these arches, we have to make them, dark so that it gives form and contrast to the bridge. And then the figuring on the stones is very important as well. And you've treated that in a good manner. It really looks as if it's natural. It's naturally there. I don't know whether it was the magic of the fairies in the glen, but you have coped admirably with this painting.
Thank you. Well, you coped admirably as well, because you have the what I would call the real McCoy, of course.
Well, Rostrevor is a place that I keep returning to time and time again. It's a town that I just can't stay out of. There's so much inspiration in that village that you have to keep going back as a painter.
You'd probably end up living there or something like that.
I wish.
It has so much colour and so much life, this painting, doesn't it? It really sort of jumps out. Every aspect of it jumps out at you. There's things that I could point out. The foliage, there's so much life in the foliage. This really is the tone, isn't it? The trees and the foliage and the bushes down here beside the water, they're very lifelike. They are real as far as I'm concerned.
Dealing with foliage is all about getting your initial colour on, that nice light sunlit green that we put on, and then layering on top of that. Because this foliage was backlit, and as you can see, we can see light coloured leaves through the foliage on the front of the tree. So it's very important that we put that background sunlit wash on and then layer the other colours on top of that. Some of it's done wet on dry. That's where we're putting the wet paint over a dry wash. Other parts of it are done by bleeding the colour in, you know, bleeding the darker colours in to give us the shadowed side to the tree. But you can see that it's a very effective technique, and it really makes the tree come to life and stand out.
It's fabulous. Well, I'm almost tempted to visit an estate agent now. It looks so pretty.
I would say you'd have bother in Rostrevor.
How to reflect the changing seasons in tomorrow's Awash with Colour at the same time, 11:15. Next today on BBC Two, Ginger Rogers is the lovesick Kitty Foyle.
You see how the music does it all? You're going to let me do it, aren't you? You are going to let me do it. He's going to come up behind you. And then it's... Yeah! Really sing and cuddle.
In a new series, Jonathan Miller reveals the methods he uses when rehearsing some of the world's greatest operas. Jonathan Miller's Opera Works, Monday, 11:15 on BBC Two.
Nice if it makes you cry. Makes us cry as well.
Now on BBC Two, Ginger Rogers leaves behind the music and dance for an Oscar-winning role as Kitty Foyle, a woman torn between love.